It was late afternoon when John, a single dad and retired veteran, was walking home with groceries in his hands. His life was simple, just him and his little daughter Emily, a quiet home, and the memories of battles he had fought not overseas anymore, but in everyday life. He thought his hardest fights were behind him, but on that day, fate placed him right back into another kind of battlefield, one that tested his heart more than his strength. Just as he reached the corner of his street, he noticed a small figure crouched by the alley wall. A girl, no more than 10, trembling and clutching a worn-out backpack to her chest. Her wide, tear-streaked eyes met his, and before he could even ask, she ran up to him, grabbed his sleeve with desperate hands, and whispered, "Please, hide me from my dad. Please, don't let him find me." The words froze John in his tracks. As a father, he felt his heart twist. He looked down at this fragile child who was shaking as though she had been running from a monster. His instincts as a soldier told him to assess, protect, defend, but his instincts as a dad told him to comfort first. He bent down slowly, setting his groceries aside, and said softly, "You're safe here. I've got you. Nobody's going to hurt you." The girl's name was Lily, and she was terrified. John didn't press her immediately. Instead, he took her home, letting her sit at the kitchen table while Emily, his daughter, offered her some cookies. For a while, Lily barely spoke, her small hands gripping that bag like it contained her life. Finally, when John gently asked about her father, her voice cracked. "He's not like your kind of dad. He gets angry. He yells, She stopped, unable to continue, but the silence said enough. John had seen this before, in fellow soldiers who had scars no one could see. He knew what fear looked like, and this little girl was carrying more than any child should. But what shook him most wasn't her words, it was when he carefully asked what she had in her bag. Lily hesitated, then slid it across the table. Inside, John found crumpled drawings, a few clothes stuffed in, and at the bottom, photographs. Pictures of bruises. Pictures of broken things in her house. And folded tightly, a note she had written in childish handwriting, "Please, someone help me." John's chest tightened. The battle he thought he left behind was now staring him in the face. But this time, it wasn't about protecting a nation, it was about protecting a child who had nobody else. The next days weren't easy. Lily's father showed up in the neighborhood, shouting her name, knocking on doors. John had to make a choice, stay out of it, or step in fully knowing he might get dragged into something bigger than himself. As a single dad, he had always been careful not to risk anything that could take him away from Emily. But looking at Lily, who clung to Emily like a sister she never had, John knew he couldn't turn his back. He contacted the authorities, but he also knew it might take time for them to act. Until then, Lily needed shelter, safety, and someone to tell her she mattered. So he stood guard. He reassured her every night, sitting by the couch where she slept, whispering, "You're safe here. I promise." One evening, her father stormed down the street, furious, demanding she come out. Neighbors peeked from windows, afraid to interfere. But John stepped onto the porch, his voice calm but firm, the same voice that had led men in combat. "You don't get to hurt her anymore. Walk away." There was something in his tone, controlled strength, unshakable authority, that made even an angry man stop. For the first time, Lily's father hesitated, and in that pause, the police arrived, called by John earlier. The moment they took her father away, Lily broke down in tears, not of fear, but of relief. She ran into John's arms, sobbing into his chest. Emily wrapped her arms around Lily too, whispering, "You can stay with us. You're not alone anymore." In the weeks that followed, Lily's life slowly changed. With the help of social workers and John's unwavering support, she found safety and hope again. Her drawings started to look different, not of broken homes, but of families smiling, of houses with gardens, of sunlight instead of darkness. John often looked at her and realized something profound. He thought his days of being a protector ended when he hung up his uniform, but maybe his mission was never about the battlefield. Maybe it was about moments like this, being the shield for someone who had no one else. As the story closes, I want you to take this message with you. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes, and they don't always fight wars overseas. Sometimes they are single parents, neighbors, or even strangers who decide to stand up and say, "Not on my watch." If Lily's story touched your heart, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every share spreads awareness, every comment builds community, and every click helps remind the world, kindness and courage can change a life.